Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Kat, and I just watched a super cute animated series on Netflix, and I want to talk about it a bit. Okay, so today we are talking about Oni, a Thunder God's Tale. It's a 3D animated miniseries that was released on Netflix in October 2022, and it's produced by a US-based animation studio, Tongo House, together with four other studios, Megalith VFX, Anima, Mars Animation Planet, and Dwarf Studios. Oh, by the way, if I mispronounce something, I'm very, very sorry. I am trying my best. So, Oni Thunder God's Tale follows Onari, a young, energetic girl living in a peaceful Kami village full of gods and creatures from the Japanese folklore. Onari, together with other kids, is working on discovering her own unique power, her Kushi, as they all prepare for the dreaded Demon Moon. A demon moon is a time once every 100 years when the scary Oni get extra powerful and attack the Kami village. So everyone's getting ready for the attack, including the kids. All the other kids seem to have at least an idea what their powers are, but Onari has no clue. She really, really wants her power to be something awesome, like the thunder power of a mighty thunder god, of whom she has heard many tales. So that's kind of like the non-spoilery summary of the show. And let me just say, it's such a lovely looking show. I really adore the art direction for this little mini series. The character designs are adorable, the environments are beautiful, and just in general, it looks stunning. It has so many beautiful frames and beautiful compositions. I just want to take screenshots and put them on my wall and just decorate my whole room with them. So for people who enjoy animation, I would recommend this show just for the visuals alone. The show also aims for this like stop motion look, so all the characters and environments have these different lovely textures. It makes everything look like miniatures in a good way and creates this warm and cozy feeling. Everything feels very textured, like a little peach fuzz on some characters, some things that look mossy or rocky. It just really looks nice. It is a kids show, so the story is kind of simple, but it does have a lot of heart, and there are a couple of fun twists, especially the one in the middle, which I'm not gonna spoil, obviously. The characters are adorable. I especially like Kappa, Onari's best friend. His voice actor did such a fantastic job, but in general, the cast is great. The show is also quite short, and it tells one complete story, which is really nice because you can just sit down and finish it in one sitting if you want to. I guess it could be a negative depending on what you prefer, but for me, my attention span has been getting really short lately, so it was nice to have a complete story in just 4 episodes. So, just in general, this show is very sweet and wholesome and pretty, so I definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you're a fan of animation. However, I do have a few teeny tiny negatives. Again, this is an adorable show. I recommend it highly, but I did have a few things that bugged me, so let's talk about them. First of all, in some places, the animation felt too choppy. Now, I know this was a deliberate choice since they were replicating the jitteriness of stop motion animation, and I know that they were also referencing Japanese anime that works with like a lower frame rate. Usually that was done for budget reasons, and I think in this case as well because the renders look so beautiful, so I'm assuming they did that for stylistic as well as budget reasons. And most of the time the animation in Oni works beautifully, but there were a few scenes, especially the ones that are more action heavy or scenes where characters move quickly, where this choppiness was just really, really noticeable, and it was sometimes even a little bit disorienting, especially in the first 2 episodes. I'm not sure if by episode 3 I was kind of used to it, or maybe they found like a little bit of a better balance between the frame rate and like, the actiony scenes, but it did bother me in the first 2 episodes. Another complaint that I have is plot related. It's a major spoiler for the whole show, including the ending. So I'll put a timestamp on screen and you can just skip this whole section if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay, so there's a twist in the middle of the show where the dreaded Oni are revealed to be human, and the events of the show actually happen in modern time Japan. The humans, by destroying the natural environment, are hurting the kami, and thus kami fear them. There's even a bit of a cliche plot point of part of the forest is being cleared to build a shopping mall. And then Onari herself is revealed to also be a human that Naridon, her adoptive father, who is also the thunder god, rescued as a baby and raised among the kami. So when Onari is revealed to be human, the Kami villagers turn on her and she finds herself as an outcast, not knowing who she is, where she belongs. And at the end, she has to kind of find her own identity and show the other Kami that the real enemy is actually fear of the other and that we shouldn't give in to fear. And it is even shown that fear transforms the Kami into these like huge creatures, and Naridon himself, because of his fear, transforms into this like black huge creature, and then they have to calm him down so he would stop destroying the village. And this theme of fear and fearing the other and not giving in to fear is actually at the heart of the show. There is another human kid character that is introduced, a boy called Calvin, who's half Japanese and he's dark skinned. So he gets called Gaijin, which is a non-Japanese, and he's not being treated very nicely by the other kids. And he even compares himself to Onari, saying that she's an outcast and he's being treated like an outcast, etc. Both of them are kind of being othered by their community, which feeds into the main theme. All of that is great, and I think that is a really solid theme. But I think that the environmental message actually muddies the water a little bit, because humans are destroying the environment, right? The Kami have a very good reason to be afraid of them. So even if Onari personally is blameless in this situation, it feels like their fear of humans is justified, right? So it's not the same as being afraid of someone just because they look different or come from a different place. And in the end, the environmental plot of building a shopping mall gets resolved super quickly. It almost feels like an afterthought. So I was just a bit puzzled. Why was it even there in the first place? I feel like the main theme of fear would have been stronger without it. But I don't know, again, maybe I just misunderstood and missed some elements. But with all that said, I still very much recommend the show. Now, if you just came for the review, feel free to hop out and go wonder the rest of the interrupts. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the animation studios behind the show and its production process. I think I mentioned it before, I work in animation, so this stuff is super interesting to me, but I understand that this is not everyone's cup of tea. So the brains behind this project is a studio called Tonka House. It's an independent studio that was founded by two ex-Pixar art directors, Robert Kondo and Dai Susumi. In 2014, they directed a short film called The Dam Keeper, which was nominated for an Academy Award. And following that, they decided they wanted to work on more independent projects and went on to create their own studio, which is super amazing, really impressive. Honestly, goals. When Tonka House first started developing Oni, they envisioned it as mostly a stop-motion project with some CG elements. From what I understand, most of the animation was supposed to be done in stop motion with only some effects and some sets done in CG. So for the stop motion side of things, they brought on Dwarf Studios, one of the top stop motion studios in Japan, who did the super adorable Rilakkuma show, which is also on Netflix. It's so cute. And then for the CG side of things, they brought on Megalith VFX, which is also a Japan-based studio. But during the development process, as the story grew and became bigger, the creators realized that CG animation would actually suit them better and it would allow them the freedom to tell the story they wanted to tell. So they brought on two CG animation studios, also from Japan, Anima and Mars Animation Studios. Dwarf Studios didn't end up doing any animation for the show in the end, but they did some amazing work in terms of visual development. When the show was still planned to be stop motion, they created actual miniature sets for the show. I found some images on Megalith VFX's website, and those look so cute. There are also some stop motion animation tests for the characters that are absolutely adorable, and I am just a teeny bit sad they didn't stick with their original plan. But the work that Dwarf Studios did helped Megalith VFX keep that stop-motion-y feel when the show eventually became CG. And yes, when you look back on it, it does sound like kind of a long and convoluted process, but I think without that initial stage of them thinking they're gonna make it in stop motion, they wouldn't be able to achieve this really nice look that the show has currently. So yeah, this is just something that interested me when I started reading about the production of the show. But that's gonna be it for me for today. And if you're still here, thanks for sticking until the end. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great time zone and bye.